Actually,
This
walang
is
choice.
2013 all over again.
Actually, walang choice. I have already told Joey na I
Hmm.
cannot see any future for Mindanao but independent Mindanao. For development.
Independence, yes.
100 years, walang significant development ang Mindanao.
Correct.
True,
Since
Sass.
Constantly,
1898,
constantly neglected. Diba?
100 years! 100
Minsan ka
years!
na nga lang, minsan na nga lang nagka-budget ng 51 billion, ano pang ginawa nito mga putang inang mga legislator na to? Kinwestiyon pa.
So it's
Minsan na nga lang na-budgetan.
So that's well actually over 100 years. We're already 2024, no? So are you gonna wait for another 100 years? Kaya yung sabi ni Bebot, no, ni Alvarez na it's time for us to chart our own destiny. Ito si DFX, don't let your sentimentality stop you from thinking in the long run. 100 it's not normal for an area as rich in natural resources and as rich in culture and heritage to be still this poor after over 100 years. That's not normal. So kaya yung sinabi ni Bebot that was really correct kasi wala namang basis yung wala namang basis yung unity ng Philippines except colonization. That's all there is. Yeah.
And Miss Asno, thank you so much for opening that, because as Mindanao, I've seen the progress here. It's very slow compared to Manila. And there's no really option for us but to separate because I'm 28 years old and we're still kumbaga the development is very, very poor and slow.
Yeah.
So I feel bad for the people from Luzon and Visayas that we might, potentially separate. But how about us in order for us to grow? And,
kasi tama yung sinabi ni PRRD na magta-tax kami, mapupunta sa Manila yung pera, tapos yung mapupunta na lang sa Mindanao ganito. Kasi Mindanao is the breadbasket of the Philippines, and it doesn't have a megapolis.
True.
Can you name any mega city in Mindanao? Davao City is not even a super mega city. It's just
a city.
It's just a city. Imagine the level of development. Kasi nga i-exploit lang kayo i-exploit ng Manila. As simple as that. Actually, na parang lahat na lang nag-develop. Kita mo pag mag-iisip ng infrastructure, di ba? Parating iniisip Manila. Magkakaroon na tayo ng subway. Magkakaroon na tayo ng subway sa Taguig. Puta! kahit nga isang city outside Manila, wala pang kahit isang LRT line. Tapos ngayon, happy na kayo na magkakaroon na ng subway. And sasabihin nila yan na yung progress ng Pilipinas. Kaya ang niyan, kaya kita mo si Baste, di ba, nung sinasabi niya, let's talk about Davao. Sabi niya ganyan, di ko naman ito masabi kasi nga, malaki tong project na gusto namin at Manila lang ang pwede makapag-decide nito. So you will always gonna get Manila's approval for your development and it's not, kaya sabi ko na there's no other way. Kung gusto niyo na compromise, federal, pero nako, they won't give it.
Ayun. Actually, ang nakakaano pa nga doon, yung sobrang nakakasampal doon ng nakakainsultong sampal is they cannot even continue on doon sa mga project development, infrastructure project na crucial sa development ng Mindanao. And yet they can fund a 500 million pesos ayuda. 'Di ba? Yung I think that's the most insulting thing that this administration had done to Mindanao. Yun yung isa sa pinaka bonggang pang-iinsulto. Sabi ko nga yung mga yung hindi nagpaparamdam yung presidente sa Mindanao, ganyan. Hindi naman kasi reklamador ang Mindanao na yung naghahanap ng presidente sa gitna ng And when the Lindol happened, when the flash flood happened, when the terrorism happened in Marawi, wala namang Mindanao na naghahanap sa presidente. Actually, ang maingay sa social media na naghahanap ng presidente, ako na taga Bulacan. Ako na taga Bulacan ang naghahanap. Nasaan ang presidente ng nasaan ang presidente para sa Mindanao? 'Di ba? Kaya parang yung may mga sentiments na ganito na yung binabato nila ngayon sa mga Duterte. They are crying and yapping about the 51 billion na napunta sa distrito ni Baste ni Pulong, na it's not even distrito ni Pulong, it is for Davao region. It's a DPWH projects na napunta doon. My God! Ang tagal-tagal na ng panahon na hindi pinapondohan ng Mindanao. Ngayon nakatikim ng 51 million yung Davao region. Nag-iiyak yung mga putang ina nyo.
And it's not just Davao region. It's not just Davao region yung 51 billion. Ang sabi niya sa South, sabi niya ganyan yung 51 billion, pero hindi niya
hindi niya sinabing Davao region correct
Oo.
I just assumed
Pero kasi niya, halimbawa itong Mindanao only needs a railway system and it witnessed the fast development of Mindanao.
Tapos kinancel pa.
Actually, yun parang because of the decisions of this administration, yung railway project na yun nawala sa Mindanao. Tapos ilang billion lang yun, tapos maglalabas kayo ng 500 billion para sa ayuda. Hindi mo lang, sige, dahil may utang kami sa inyo, nawalan kayo, sige, gawin na natin yung railway project. Tapos maganda pa tayo magpopondo, meron pala tayong 500 billion. Tapos hindi nyo man lang yun naalala na parang railway project muna bago ayuda. 450 na lang for ayuda. Yung 50 billion kasi dahil nga sa mga desisyon natin, ayan, nawalan sila. Bigyan mo lang natin naman yung pagpatuloy na natin yung project. Walang ganun. Sobrang sampal talaga yun.
Yun lang kailangan namin yung railway na yan kasi the transfer of kasi Mindanao, if you look at the structure of Mindanao, the natural resources, topographical, etc., it can be a self-sustaining economy. Kasi sila they have agriculture, there are commercial areas, and a lot of things, and then they are near. They are actually, you can build a bridge from Malaysia to Sambasulu, diba? And then there you already have a connection to entire of Asia. Alam mo yun parang there's really no reason why Mindanao is poor given a lot of these details, except that it is being neglected purposely.
Yeah.
Totoo.
And Sass, Miss Sass.
Yes,
Hello?
go ahead.
Yes po.
And since you opened this up, I actually saw the video of live earlier, and Sir Alvarez mentioned the separation of Singapore from Malaysia, and I would just like to ask, if you know what's the reason bakit nag-separate ang Singapore sa Malaysia.
Ang mali lang doon ni Alvarez kasi Singapore was kicked out of the federal Malaysia.
Ang tawag dito, white ahas, yung ventilador mo,
Ay, sorry.
So
Ayan.
what's this? I believe that Singapore was kicked out of the federal Malaysia.
Okay.
So parang merong, I forgot kung ano nangyaring event, but so they found themselves alone. And luckily, Lee Kuan Yew was alive at that time, and he was the one there. Kasi I think he made all the difference. It was Lee Kuan Yew. So, yung Mindanao kasi, there are a lot of, what's this? Actually, mahaba yung istorya, no? That of why Mindanao can separate legally. Una-una, the Treaty of Paris that united the different islands of the Philippines was illegal. Unang-una. So, yan yung kasi yung basis ng unity ng Philippines, no? The Treaty of Paris. So, it's illegal. Ikalawa, there's no history of conquest. No, the Mindanao was never subjected and been subject to conquest of either the Americans or the Spaniards. Colonization kasi was the basis of the unity. So I think from a legal standpoint, there is a good basis in order for Mindanao to assert its independence. Pero yun nga lang na ang ano kasi niyan, ang nakikita ko kasi niya na angle sa United Nations is yung pagpapatuloy ng decolonization eh. Kasi the structure is brought by decolonization. So it's just logical na if a group of people wanted to free themselves from the colonial structure, even though na it was continued by the locals themselves, they can probably perhaps pursue that route. So, yun yung ano ko. Yun yung ano ko sa kanila. Pero I forgot the exact reason why Singapore was kicked out of the federal Malaysia.
Okay. Thank you, Sass.
I think it has something to do with ethnic tensions. Kasi Singapore is predominantly ethnic Chinese during that time. I have to
Ayun, nawala si Sass. Magve-verify daw siya. Ayun. So, anyway, habang bine-verify ni Sass, ayan.
Andali, ano ba yung ibang topic natin? Di ba may topic tayong iba? Sabi mo yung mga sinabi ni Duterte. Ano pa yan?
Yun nga, yung mga sinabi ni Duterte. Actually, yun na nga rin, yun papunta na rin yun doon sa, yung call niya for, sige, I mean, to be fair kay, and this is one of many reasons why I love PRRD. Yung mga demands kasi ni PRRD, sa totoo lang, hindi, natatawa kayo mga nagsasabing diktador siya eh. Parang naging diktador si PRRD, lagi nga siya nagbibigay ng option sa kausap niya. Lagi siya nagbibigay ng scenario, di ba?
Alam ko na kung bakit ginamit ni Alvarez ang Singapore. Kasi ang trigger nun is deep political and economic differences between the ruling parties of Singapore and Malaysia. So structurally speaking, that is already the condition. So, kaya siya ginamit. Okay. Anyway, so go ahead, Joie. What was the topic?
Ayun. So, yun yung mga sinabi nga kanina ni PRRD, so kinorek niya yung tungkol dun sa fentanyl, ganyan. Tapos sinabi niya yung tungkol sa abuse ni BBM sa drugs. And then he went on by providing more context like nabubwisit siya dahil addict nga itong si BBM, ganyan. And well, yung mga criticisms kasi dito is mainly na parang, alam na pala niyang addict eh. Bakit hinayaan pa niyang tumakbo? Bakit nakatandem pa ng anak niya? Ganyan-ganyan. Ang explanation lang na inoffer ni PRRD was that, kaya nga hindi ko sinuportahan si BBM. Kaya nga si Inday lang yung I openly supported. Sabi niya. But tingin ko a lot of people are still going to harp on the fact na ba't hindi niya hinuli, ba't hindi niya ganyan. Tuloy-tuloy yan. But ako, I will just wait for the explanation of the old guy pagdating dun sa part na yun. Because I think there are some stories that are needed to be told, pero baka hindi siya yung magsasabi nun. Ganon. Tapos, ayun, kasi syempre 'di ba when you talk about drug abuse, ang talagang problema diyan ay hindi naman talaga yung gumagamit. Ang problema diyan, sino yung nagsusupply? Sino yung tulak dito? And I think yun yung kung more than sagutin ni PRRD kung bakit hindi niya hinuli si BBM bilang addict. Mas dapat tanungin sino ang nagsusupply sa addiction ni BBM. Yun. Yun yung ano. Ayun. Ate Joey, ba't di niyo po ina-acknowledge si Snake ng Brazil? Ayan, hi, Snake ng Brazil. Nabigyan na natin siya ng moment kanina, pero pagka gusto naman niya magsalita, ay magsasalita rin siya.
Actually, yun yung problema din sa addiction. Kasi pag meron ka ng, pag naranasan mo yung addiction, vulnerable ka na eh. Konting na lang, parang every time na merong tukso, madali ka nang maano. So, importante talaga yun yung support system mo. Kung yung support system mo, inaano ka, kinukonsente ka, talagang kahit mag-rehab ka ng mag-rehab, babalik ka at babalik. Kasi may weakness ka na sa kanya eh.
Ito pala, Madam Joey, add ko lang kanina yung thought ko, no? Bale, nabuhay yung loob ko as a teenager way back in 2013. Kasi, di ba, may nangyaring Zamboanga siege. And basically, may declaration of independence doon. And naalala ko that time that ang declared capital nun was our city. De jure. But de facto, it's Zamboanga kasi nandun sila. And I remember PRRD saying na open siya sa idea na maging capital ng independent dapat Bangsamoro Republic before na maging capital ng Bangsamoro Republic ang Davao City, which is yun yung dineclare doon na Davao City is de jure capital ng breakaway state na yun that time. So
ang kailangan lang naman kasi gawin ng Mindanao peacefully is to hold an independence referendum. So it can be arranged with the central government, with the Manila government, or Mindanao can do it on their own, independence referendum, and see how many are in favor of independence. And then, if it happened,
nagparun na ba ng survey ever, Sass? Like, what's the general sentiment of the people of Mindanao when it comes to ano?
Hindi, wala pa atang nagkakaroon ng Mindanao. Sandali Mindanao.
I think na-mention yan kanina.
Nag-iikot pa daw si Alvarez but wala pang formal survey. Wala pang formal survey. But
kasi dati meron kasing movement yan, Independent Mindanao. That was like in early 90s or late 80s. Meron pang flag yan eh. May flag yan eh. May flag yan sila. Actually, ang ganda nga nung flag nila. Ang flag nila is may tatlong kulay. I forgot the colors, and then it symbolizes the Moro, the Indigenous, the Lumads, and the Christians. So parang it's yun yung symbolism ng different colors, and it was quelled. The thing, and then yung I forgot kung sino yung leader na yun, binanggit din kanina yung sa forum eh, and then he was actually arrested. Was he arrested or parang na-pacify siya? Pero yun na nga, it's the only thing that you needed to do. You need to do a referendum. It's either it's negotiated with the government, or you can do it on your own and then get international. Kasi ang kailangan lang niya na do a referendum. Either it's recognized by national government or hindi. Pag nagkaroon ka ng majority wanted independence, then the next step there is to negotiate with the national government. If it can't, then you can actually get recognition by different countries, because you only need a lot of countries to recognize that you're an independent country, and then you can just get the major players. I'm pretty sure the United States will not recognize it, pero the United States is just one country. You have, kasi I'm pretty sure the Islamic Organization of Islamic Conference would recognize it. How many countries are in that organization?
So the sovereign recognition can definitely
yes, and then what could Manila do? ang
The
pangit
math
ngayon ng
is
image.
adding up. The math
Eh,
is mathing.
and then
I
China,
like it. Mhm.
China will recognize it. I'm pretty sure Russia would, and then African countries would. So that's already a lot of countries. So tapos ka na. And then Manila, what Manila could do is that, we will not have diplomatic relationship with countries that recognizes an independent Mindanao. But doing that actually would be detrimental to the Philippines. Can you imagine? You will only have diplomatic relationship with countries who will not recognize an independent Mindanao. Ilan lang yun, no? So yun yung, kaya nga sabi ko na, everything, actually this is, if there is any moment in history that it would be successful, this would be the time, because the West is in decline. So parang, and there is saka madali kasi siyang ibenta, it's a product of colonization, so it is continuation of the colonization, etc. So ayun lang, yung Timor-Leste, it was for a time. Pero kasi itong sa Mindanao, I don't think I don't think that it would be they might attempt to make it bloody, pero kasi it all boils down kasi on how you do the tactic. Sabi ko, it all boils down to the tactic. Pero naman kasi kung ginagawa ng Mindanao, we're just having a peaceful referendum. We're only we're doing just this peacefully, pursuing our self-determination.
Which is all
Peacefully.
provided for.
Pag inano ka ng national government, hinagard ka, ikaw yung talo. Gets mo? Kaya nga sabi ko, this will all boils down to the game of tactics. Pero yun na nga, I don't see any future for the development of Mindanao other than being an independent country. At least a fully federal state. Pero ayun na yung pinaka-minimum fully federal.
Ayun.
And pala, madam, si Senator Robin Padilla floated the idea of reviving or palakasin yung calls natin sa claim natin sa Sabah. What do you think about that?
I think that's not well, I understand that, no, pero Robin has to understand the developments in international relations right now. If the people of Sabah wanted to be independent, kasi na yun kasi it's not an empty land. So no, there are already people living in Sabah, and in the current international relations, current structure of international relations, if a territory like that has already people living there, they would have to decide what would they want to do. So even if you want to claim Sabah and the Sabahanons don't want to join you, that's not gonna happen. So ikaw yung talo doon, ikaw i-invade mo sila, i-subject mo sila. So that's bloodier. So it will all boils down to that.
Ayun.
Complicated pala talaga.
Wala na yun kasi if you have an independent Mindanao, what do you need Sabah for? You can just create connections to Sabah and then have an integrated economy. Kasi you don't need to solve these things using 19th century or 20th century 19th century or 20th century solutions.
Why nahas yung electric fan mo ang ingay?
That's okay.
Ayan. Ayan. Go, Sass. And kinakain yung audio ni Sass eh.
Hindi, ayun na ang sabi ko nga na I think Robin is still thinking in terms of 19th century and 20th century solutions when it comes to Sabah. Kasi if you have an independent Mindanao, you can just have an integrated economy. So, parang it's no longer kasi hindi, I cannot see it being resolved in Sulu having full sovereignty over Sabah. So that's not a real that's an idealistic end goal, but that's not realistic. Maybe after 200 years you can do that, but I cannot see it in 50 years or 100 years. You have to be realistic with your goal as well, no?
Sabi ni Amadito Barlaan, Mindanao is part of the Philippines. We are one Philippines, just like one China in regards to Taiwan issue.
Actually,
Ako sa
it's not the
totoo,
same. It's not the
oo,
same.
ang personal na ano ko dito, napalagay ko dito, yung, ang tawag dito, yung if Mindanao is going to push for independence, ganyan-ganyan, hindi ko talaga sila mapipigil. Hindi ko sila mapipigil. Deep inside my heart, gusto ko one Philippines tayo. But we're not giving them what is due. 'Di ba? And they cannot just wait and wait and wait for them to develop. At certain point, if we're not going to ano no, to
When did Mindanao become part of the Philippines?
Actually, never.
Election.
Nagulat
Sige
na kami
nga.
nung ano.
You have to
Nung
ask yourself. Yun ang problema sa mga tao, no? They don't know the history of their own country. You know, you don't know the history of your own country. Taiwan is not like Mindanao. Okay? Taiwan has been a part of China and it was separated because of colonization. Mindanao became part of the colonized territories of the United States because of the Treaty of Paris. There was no Philippines before the Treaty of Paris. The Philippines that you know now is a result of the Treaty of Paris of the United States and Spain. So, walang Pilipinas before colonization. Mindanao, actually it's not even the entire Mindanao, no. Mindanao was consisting of separate sultanates, rajanates, and how do you even call this, in different indigenous systems, and they have their own independence with each other. You know, I think the largest independent polities then was, for example, the Sultanate of Sulu and the Sultanate of Maguindanao, and there's even in, I think it's in Basilan, and then there's even in Butuan for some time. So they have a long history of being independent. You cannot just say na it's part of the Philippines. You cannot erase their own history.
Yeah.
Why are you erasing their own history? There's not even Philippines that appeared in the annals of the great powers in the world. No, Sultanate of Sulu was there. Even, you know, the Sultanate of Sulu was even had a. Do you know that they're the only royal that's buried in foreign royal buried in China is the Sultanate of Sulu. So there's no mention of Philippines because Philippines is an invention of the Americans. Well, the invention of the Spaniards and afterwards Americans, and the Mindanaoans, especially the Moro people, has never forgotten this. So you cannot erase their history. Kung hindi mo alam yung history ng bansa mo, problema mo yan. But the Mindanaoans, especially the Moro people, do not forget. And it's being transferred from one generation to another generation. We would like to realize the dream one day of regaining their land from the colonizers and then later on from the settlers. Dapat alam ninyo yan.
True. Ayun. Actually, nandun sa Mindanao yung kultura eh. Yung kultura tsaka ano. Andun eh. Well, of course, may yung ano, no, meron naman dito sa Luzon kahit pa paano. Pero ako bilang Tagalog, no, parang hindi naman talaga, I mean, I can't really relate doon sa ano, doon sa parang I don't know, I do not know my identity. Sa totoo lang, I do not know my identity. Pero pagka nagpunta ka sa ano, like for example sa Cordy, sa ano, they know who they are. But there are a lot of Filipinos like me na Tagalog na who do not know our identity really. And it's very, very important. And when you go to the South and they know their history very well and they know they know exactly what they want to be. Parang feeling ko bakit mapipigilan? Ganon. Well, ang kasi doon ako sa sa practical na level. Doon ako sa practical na level. Parang hindi naman kasi talaga naging fair ang ating gobyerno sa pag-share ng programa ever since the world began. At napaka-evident nito. And ayun, so kung merong mga ganitong sentimiento, tingin ko ang dapat nating intindihin doon is kung saan siya nanggagaling, ano yung pinaghuhugutan.
Hindi,
Diba?
hindi fair, Joey. The Mindanaoans have been discriminated historically for a very, very, very long time.
Oo.
So, hindi lang siya hindi naging fair. It's really a result of discrimination. Ang punot dulo rin yan is yung how the Christians look down on the Moros which we inherited from the Spaniards. You know, they've always looked at them as barbaric, you know, as uncivilized, you know, because they're Moro. And then the policymakers in Manila inherited it because they have descended from the Spanish colonizers, American and Spanish colonizers. That's the truth of it. Kaya nga itong the Mindanaos will never forget. They will never ever forget. You know, hindi mo sila mapipigilan dyan. And for them, it's not just as simple as fairness. It's justice, historical justice.
Totoo. That's one of the brilliance of PRRD kasi si PRRD lang rin yung presidente in my in the entire time I am living in this world. Siya lang talaga yung merong seryosong approach doon sa pagka-Pilipino ng Pilipino. Di ba isa sa mga first order of business niya when he became the president was to get the Balangiga bells. And a lot of people na hindi maintindihan yon ganyan. But, you know, for someone, for example, kasi yan naman talagang problema natin ng mga Pilipino, hindi natin alam yung history natin eh. But when PRRD did that, nagising niya yung consciousness ng mga Pilipino na bakit importanteng gawin yun. Bakit importante yung ibalik yung bell na yun sa Pilipinas. 'Di ba? And I think no other president recognized the importance of history sa nation building. Napaka-importante. And yun. Yan lang.
Kaya nga they even you know the more people even have a different kind of social contract. You know, ang social contract sa Philippines is derived from the Europeans, no? Their social contract is based on the UMA. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brazil, from the concept of the UMA. You know, which is basically meaning a roughly translated into English as community. So that is their basis of political order. The UMA under the grace of Allah. So it's a totally different way of organizing society that they have done for several hundreds of years, and until now it has not they have never forgotten this. Parang there was even a point in time na I know this kasi nga, you know, when I was still part of the expert group of Clarita Carlos, so meron dong most scholar from Mindanao, you know, showing us old videos. So you can even see then na some Mindanaoans were wearing I don't know, I think it's called a fez, which was being worn by those under the Ottoman Empire, you know, because they find solidarity in the caliphate of the Ottoman Empire for a very, very long time. So yun yung kanilang pinaghuhugutan. So itong unity ng Philippines, for them this is an artificial imposition on them, and of course not just artificial but of course through violent imposition. Kaya nga maraming Mindanaoans who celebrated when Duterte, when he was, I think he was in Laos, showed the massacre that was conducted by the Americans in Mindanao during the colonial period. So masaya sila dyan because yun nga inaano nila, no, the historical justice.
Ayun lang. Masaya kami sa ine-educate mo kami ng bonggang-bongga this evening.
Oo, may ganito lang po kasi may nanonood pala yung ilang troll sa page ko na sobra. Tapos sabi, nurse ka pala. Ay, bago pala yun. Yung parang, ayun. Sabi, nurse ka pala, ganyan-ganyan. So, bakit hindi mo i-identify kung sino yung mukhang bangag? Sabi ko talaga, gusto mong i-identify ko. Sabi ko, meron akong nakitang video dati. Naglalakad siya sa kasal. Nasa GC natin to, madam kung babalik. Tapos, sabi ko, bakit ganyan siya maglakad? Hindi naman, ako, pag ganun ka, intoxicated ka maglakad. Sabi ko, bakit ganyan siya maglakad? I can share to you the actual conversation dun sa yung actual chat ko doon sa kung sakaling mahihingi. Sabi ko, bakit ganyan siya maglakad? Kasi sa akin, pag ganun yung lakad mo, intoxicated ka. After how many hours, napabalitang may COVID siya. So, hindi. Ayun. Huwag niyo ako pinapa-identify.
Hindi, ayun na nga, no, I learned a lot about this when I was in the Netherlands kasi Leiden University has the best Asian Studies department in the world. Kasi nga, marami silang archives. So, isa sa mga nakita kong libro, you know, there was this a book conducted by a Dutch scholar on the diplomatic history of the Maguindanao Sultanate, on how the Maguindanao Sultanate dealt with the British and the Dutch, you know, in a very brilliant way. So pag makikita mo talaga yan, you know, they really have a rich history, diplomatic history. Kaya nga sinasabi ko nung panahon ni Duterte na nung lecture ko nun sa Davao na it's so good na we have another Mindanaoan. Our president right now is from Mindanao, and that he is handling our foreign policy in this way. Kasi nga yung the way Duterte handled foreign policy actually has roots in the way Mindanao handled its foreign policy for a very, 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 very long time. On how they have handled great powers in the world. Ayun nga lang, no, sumemplang dito sa America because the United States has overpowered them because they have better arms, better have you and this. Pero for a very, very long time, they knew how to handle diplomacy in such a way that it benefits their own locality without siding one with the other. So, Sass, met ko si Father Cruz, marami din siyang alam sa history natin. Ito ba yung sa Davao City? So ayun na nga. Kaya nga itong mga to, no, parang naalala ko nga, parang I think it was 5 years ago. I think he was a descendant of Kiram. Sabi niya na, wag nyo kaming idamay, parang ang message niya, wag nyo kaming idamay sa away nyo with China because we have had a good history with China for centuries. Sabi niya ganyan, ang away ninyo, sa inyo lang yan, wag nyo kaming idamay dito. So parang ganun yung, parang yung ganun yung, parang ganun yung eksena niya. So, ang chika niyan, is kaya nga si PRRD, kita mo 'di ba nung speech na nung Sunday, nagsimula talaga siya sa history, 'di ba? For 400 years. Yun ang totoong leader, no? Rooted siya sa history. Kaya nga ang ano niyan is pagod na sila. Sabi nga ni Duterte is 'di ba tinanong nga siya doon kanina na anong masasabi niyo, mag-i-endorse ba kayo ng presidente? Sabi niya, no. Kasi nga, paulit-ulit na lang, sabi niya ganyan. 'Di ba yung message niya, yung neglected, yung ginagawa niyo sa Mindanao, etc. And ayun nga yung ano niya. Kaya kasi nga he knows. He reads. He is very well read in Mindanao history. And a lot of people in Mindanao know their history because it is being orally passed from one generation to the next. Kaya nga kita mo, 'di ba, nung sinabi ko, nung nagbigyan na lang sila nagbitaw ng message yung government ni Marcos about dyan sa gulo dyan sa Israel and Palestine. Sabi ko, mga boba talaga to. Tapos inanuhan pa niya si Romualdez pa, nakisakay pa siya. We support, ganyan. Sabi ko, ang boba nito. Hindi mo ba naintindihan? The Muslim in Mindanao are very much connected with the cause of Palestinian. Hindi mo lang sila consult on how to handle this. Kaya nga, di ba nagkaroon ng rally yan sa Mindanao in support of the Palestinians, in solidarity with the Palestinians. Ang laki ng rally na yun, ha? Nung ano na, kasi nga, itong mga to kasi, lalo na itong mga Manila-based politicians at mostly educated in the United States who do not know the history of the country, ang hilig-hilig nilang mag-virtue signaling para mahalin sila ng mga kanluraning bansa. Hindi nila naiisip na, meron tayong sariling history, meron tayong sariling ganyan, no? So, wag kang basta-bastang epal-epal ng ganyan na hindi naman
dapat meron tayong live na you're just going to talk about history, yung merong syllable. Paano ba tinuturo yung Asian history sa sa Leiden? Dapat meron tayong isang session na gano'n na magle-lecture ka. Today class we're going to
about Asian history. Sige, mag-session tayo niyan. About Asian history. Ayan. So, kaya nga itong Mindanao, tama ito si Snake, na the Mindanaoans always looked up to a leader of a strong leader. Kasi it is rooted in their history, no? You cannot be a datu if you have never been seen by your community as someone strong physically and morally. So you have to be good in maintaining order, and you should be a shining example, no?
Actually sa mga pinakagusto ko talagang yung parang makikita mo yung relationship ng China at ng Mindanao noon. Yung kay Padaka Pahula ba yun? Yung may tomb siya sa China na parang ganun. They are really seeing, hindi pa naman Pilipinas noon, di ba? May ano pa lang talaga, iwaiwalay pa. That they are seeing itong mga Philippines na ngayon na equal. Ganun talaga yung history ng Pilipinas at China. It's not because we are pro-China or kung ano, it's just the history.
Yeah, exactly. Yung history. Kasi nga, the Mindanaoans are known traders, no? During for a very, very long time.